Everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. But before we actually call this voting meeting to order, we have an extraordinary special guest of Representative Shalaba. Ma'am, would you like to introduce this fine young man here?
Good morning. Teddy, can you say hi? Wait, say it right here.
Hi.
Say, have a good day.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Teddy, and thank you for bringing him here. So while we run our chicken nuggets out, we'll go ahead and chicken nuggets or fingers. Did I get it right? We're going to go ahead and take roll. So but beforehand, I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed for the members of the public, for those participating virtually, of which I see no one, so we're good. For anybody attending in person, please silence all electronic devices. That reminded me to do it. And we will now take attendance. Tom, please take the roll.
Chairman Schweier.
Here.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry. Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Designation.
Representative Nelson. Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi. Representative Smith-Waddell.
Designation.
Representative Takak. Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
Here.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie. Representative McCurry. Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba. Representative Stats.
Designation.
Representative Watro.
Designation.
A quorum is present.
So the first bill we'll consider today is House Bill 93, sponsored by Representative Ledbetter. Is there a motion to bring the bill up? Chair Topper, is there a second? I will second it. Before we turn it over to you, Representative Aaron, will you please explain the bill?
Yes, this is House Bill 93, printers number 82, being offered by Representative Ledbetter. This bill amends the Public School Code and miscellaneous provisions relating to institutions of higher education, providing for human trafficking prevention and education programs by detailing an institution of higher education shall provide first-year students voluntary access to at least 3 in-depth prevention and education programs regarding human trafficking at any time during new student orientation activities.
Thank you very much. And there is an amendment, a 5039, that I will offer. Is there a second? Thank you, Chair Topper. Aaron, will you please explain the amendment?
Yes, this is Amendment 05039 being offered by Chair Schweier. This amendment adds the Human Trafficking Prevention and Education Program to the existing Article 20G, Sexual Violence, Dating Violence, Domestic Violence, and Stalking Education Prevention and Response at Institutions of Higher Ed and Private Licensed Schools.
Thank you. Are there any questions on Amendment 5039? Seeing none on my side, seeing none on the Republican side. Can I have a roll call, please, Tom?
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry. Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Nelson. Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi. Representative Smith-Waddell.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Takak. Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
Yes.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie. Representative McCurry. Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba. Representative Stats.
Yes by designation.
Representative Watro.
Yes by designation.
The yeas are 25, the nays are 0.
Thank you, sir. Now, if I would, I'm going to give a second here to the maker of the bill. Representative Ledbetter, if you'd like to make some comments on the bill, you're certainly welcome to do so today, sir.
Thank you, Chairman Schweier, Chairman Topper, and honorable members of the House Education Committee. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak this morning on House Bill 93. This bill represents bipartisan collaboration and commitment in advocating and advancing an essential tool in our collective effort to combat human trafficking, especially among one of the most vulnerable populations to fall victim, young adults. Freshman college students often living away from home for the first time are particularly susceptible to human trafficking. Their inexperience, newfound independence, and new connections can make them ideal targets for traffickers. House Bill 93 aims to address this vulnerability by integrating human trafficking education into college orientation or safety programs. Increased awareness and prevention are crucial. Education significantly raises awareness about traffickers' tactics, helping students recognize and avoid dangerous situations. This knowledge empowers students to protect themselves and their peers, creating a safer campus environment. Educational training on college campuses would also aid in victims accessing assistance. Educational training helps victims who might not otherwise seek help. The available programs often provide a vital lifeline, offering support and resources to those in need. Access to healing resources is another crucial and critical aspect to this bill. Students being educated about available resources and programs offers them a pathway to prevention and an awareness to essential resources for healing and recovery. By empowering our students with knowledge, we enable young adults to take proactive steps in safeguarding themselves and their peers. This empowerment fosters a vigilant campus community, contributing to overall safety. The benefits of making education available extend beyond individual students, creating a ripple effect. Informed individuals are more likely to advocate for and spread awareness about human trafficking, amplifying the impact within their communities. Aligning with institutional goals, colleges and universities across our Commonwealth prioritize student safety and well-being. House Bill 93 supports these goals. Additionally, educated students will be able to better identify and report suspicious activities, leading to more effective prevention and intervention efforts both on our campuses and within our neighborhoods. Many colleges already offer various safety programs and orientation trainings for first-year students. Integrating human trafficking education into these existing programs enhances their comprehensiveness and effectiveness, providing a more robust safety net for students. As legislators, we all have a moral and ethical responsibility to protect vulnerable populations. By supporting House Bill 93, we will continue to demonstrate a commitment to combating human trafficking and safeguarding the future of young adults. An affirmative vote on this today is an important step in a larger goal to ensure the safety and well-being of our youth here in Pennsylvania. In conclusion, Chairman Schreier, House Bill 93 is an essential tool in the fight against human trafficking. It complements other efforts through education, awareness, and empowerment. I urge you to support this critical legislation, and once again, thank you all for the opportunity to speak today.
Are there any questions or comments? Representative Young.
Thank you so much. I do want to applaud the maker of the bill. I know that human trafficking is definitely a passion point for me, and we're also introducing legislation together around human trafficking and education as it relates to making sure that our children stay safe is also a priority. However, I would like to say that I would like to say that there's some pieces of this piece of legislation that I think we can unpack a little bit more. So unfortunately, on this piece of legislation, I'm gonna have to vote no, but I am looking forward to working with you to uncover those pieces that are still concern of mine. But thank you again for introducing this bill.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, can I have a roll call vote on House Bill 93 as amended?
Chairman Schreier,
Yes.
Representative Abney, Representative Cerisi, Representative Curry, Representative Friel, Representative Isaacson, Representative Kazim,
Designation no.
Representative Nelson, Representative Probst, Representative Prokopiak, Representative Razi, Representative Smith-Waddell,
Designation no.
Representative Takak, Representative Yun, Chairman Topper,
Yes.
Representative Cooper,
Yes.
Representative Diorsi, Representative Gleim, Representative McKenzie, Representative Mercuri, Representative Ortitai, Representative Schlegel, Representative Shalaba, Representative Stats,
Yes by designation.
Representative Watro.
Yes by designation.
The yeas are 13, the nays are 12.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 93, as reported, as amended, is reported from the Education Committee. House Bill, we're moving forward to House Bill 1526. Is there a motion to consider 1526 introduced by Representative Cerisi? Thank you, Representative Probst. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Young. Aaron, will you please explain the bill?
Yes, this is House Bill 1526, printers number 1749, being offered by Representative Cerisi. This bill amends the Public School Code and intermediate units, further providing for powers and duties of the Intermediate Unit Board of Directors to allow intermediate units to acquire land and buildings by purchase, lease, or gift, and to own office space and warehouse facilities.
Thank you. We'll move on to the amendment in a second, but Rep. Cerisi, would you like to talk about the bill a little bit?
Yes, so as we're all aware, the IUs, we have 29 IUs across the Commonwealth, and each IU has different requirements. And the IUs came to us about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and said that, we're not allowed to purchase buildings for educational purposes like our CTEs or charter schools are. We have to rent them, which causes a much higher burden on our school districts. So Representative Marcel and I came together, came up with a bill that allows them now to be able to purchase the properties. And remember, the IUs are operated by a joint operating committee of all the school districts, so they're not operating in a vacuum. The school districts still have the say of what they can and cannot purchase, so this bill cleans that up. So I want to thank you for your support.
Thank you, sir. And I believe you have an amendment, A5068, that'll be offered and motioned by Rep. Cerisi. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Abney. Aaron, would you like to, will you please explain the amendment?
Yes, this is Amendment A05068, being offered by Representative Cerisi. This amendment allows the school safety and security enhancement grants and the targeted school safety grants for non-public schools to be awarded directly to the non-public schools and no longer be awarded through the intermediate units. The Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, would administer the grants.
Go ahead, Joe. Representative Cerisi.
Thank you. So this amendment is important. When I visited some of my local Catholic schools, they informed me of how they had to go about to get this grant, and I was really surprised by this. So this clears the way. The payment goes directly to them. There's no middle person. We're talking about school safety for all of our children, whether in private schools, charter schools, Catholic schools, it doesn't matter. I think this is a great amendment to put forward, so I'd ask for a positive vote on it.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Seeing none on our side. Any questions or comments?
I think we're all good with the amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All Democrats will be a yes on Amendment 5068.
All the Republicans will be yes on the amendment as well.
Thank you, sir. Now on to the bill as amended. Are there any questions or comments on 1526 as amended? Chairman?
Roll call.
Okay. Before we move to a roll call vote, I will say that this bill and this amendment goes directly towards something that this committee has been talking about for a long time, which is increasing efficiencies in our school districts as much as there's a lot of talk about investing in adequacy and tax equity and those sorts of things. And I'm not going to belabor that or add that to the conversation here today. What I will say is that as part of that, we also need to make sure that our school districts are spending our dollars in the most efficient way possible, and that our Commonwealth is spending our dollars in the most efficient way possible. I think the amendment gets to that by making sure that we're prioritizing school safety instead of having, as the maker of the amendment said, siphoning off any of those dollars. for unnecessary reasons. If there's a more direct way that we can make our schools safer, we should do that. And then the other underlying bill will also save a significant dollars over the long term for our education system via our IU. So I encourage everyone as a yes vote on 1526 as amended. And with that, Tom, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Schweier,
Yes.
Representative Abney, Representative Cerisi, Representative Curry, Representative Friel, Representative Isaacson, Representative Kazim,
Yes by designation.
Representative Nelson, Representative Probst, Representative Prokopiak, Representative Razi, Representative Smith-Waddell,
Yes by designation.
Representative Takak, Representative Young, Chairman Topper,
Yes.
Representative Cooper,
Yes.
Representative Diorsi, Representative Gleim, Representative McKenzie, Representative Mercuri, Representative Ortitai, Representative Schlegel, Representative Shalaba, Representative Stats,
Yes by designation.
Representative Watro.
Yes by designation.
The yeas are 22, the nays are 3.
Thank you. House Bill 1526 is reported from the House Education Committee as amended. Moving forward, we're going to consider House Bill 2311, sponsored by Chair Schlossberg. Is there a motion to bring it up? Representative Friel, is there a second? Representative Isaacson, thank you. Aaron, will you please explain House Bill 2311?
Yes, this is House Bill 2311, printers number 3308, being offered by Chair Schlossberg. This bill amends the public school code, the public school code, establishing the school mental health screening grant and development program within the Department of Education to provide grants to participating school entities for annual evidence-based mental health screening for students in grades 6 through 12, and makes appropriations from the general fund to the Department of Education for the program.
Thank you. And Chair Schlossberg?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, colleagues, for hearing this legislation. I, as you would imagine, come prepared with the ream of statistics about the decaying state of mental health, particularly among our youngest students. But the truth is that you don't need me to recite any of those pieces of information, because you already know. If not your own children, the children of friends, or calls you've had with constituents, you know just how badly many of our youth are suffering from a perspective of mental illness. Their pain calls upon us to act. Now, my legislation would create a pilot program which would allow the Pennsylvania Department of Education to set parameters. It would also, ideally at some point, be funded to make it easier for school districts to be able to afford mental health screening. I have long advocated that we need to do a better job of bringing physical and mental health on par with each other. We already screen for hearing, we already screen for vision, we already screen for an array of illnesses. I believe that by creating a program that would allow for behavioral health screening, we can potentially catch a mental illness before it becomes so significant that it requires extensive treatment. In so doing, we can save countless pain and potentially save quite a few lives as well. And for those reasons, I ask for your votes, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two amendments to the bill. The first amendment is Amendment 5050 that I will offer, and I'll make that motion. Is there a second? Representative Probst, thank you. And Aaron, will you please explain the amendment?
This is Amendment 05050, being offered by Chair Schweier. This amendment changes terminology used in the bill to address drafting errors, to clarify the intent of the program, and also removes the appropriation in the bill.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment 5050? Seeing none. Okay. I will say all Democrats will be a yes, and we can have a roll call with the Republicans.
Chairman Topper,
No.
Representative Cooper, Representative Diorsi, Representative Gleim, Representative McKenzie, Representative Mercuri, Representative Ortitai, Representative Schlegel, Representative Shalaba, Representative Stats,
No by designation.
Representative Watro.
No by designation.
The yeas are 14, the nays are 11.
Thank you, sir. There is a second amendment offered by Representative Gleim, Amendment 5067. Is there a motion to bring it up? Representative Gleim makes a motion. Is there a second? Representative Ortitai, thank you. And Aaron, will you please explain the amendment?
This is Amendment A05067 being offered by Representative Gleim. This amendment changes the opt-out provisions under the bill in Section 1412C to allow emancipated students the ability to opt out in addition to a student's parent or guardian. It also allows a participating school entity the opportunity to opt out of the program if the school entity no longer wishes to participate in the program. The participating school entity must notify the department no later than May 1st of the prior school year. The school entity must notify impacted students and their parents or guardians and post notice on their school website. It also adds the Mental Health Procedures Act in reference to preventing unauthorized disclosure of records or information involving the mental health screening process as part of an involuntary examination and treatment commitment under this act, and requires a school entity who no longer participates in the mental health screening program to destroy student records pertaining to the program, including records maintained by a selected vendor. The school entity is also required to destroy all records and information of a student no longer attending a school that participates in the program.
Thank you, ma'am. Representative Gleim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Realizing that this bill is most likely going to pass, and I appreciate the intent of the maker of the bill, I wanted to put some safeguards in place on student and parental information with regard to these screenings. I'm opposed to expanding health screenings within the school. I really think that we need to use third parties or, get back to the mission and vision of academics within a school building. It puts a lot of pressure on the current nurses and their workload. But I really would like to put some safeguards around the process, and I think that this amendment does that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chair Topper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Representative Gleim for her work on this issue, again, recognizing that, as we do, that our children certainly, as so many in our culture today, are dealing with things that we never envisioned, trying to keep up with that while also creating public policy that will certainly respect parental and caregiver rights, as well as privacy issues. So I will be supporting the amendment and asking my members to do the same. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments looking to my physical left? I did that for you, Jess. On my physical right, I'm just going to ask my colleagues for a negative vote on this, whereas I think the maker of the amendment knows that I have a great deal of respect for her service on school board and her knowledge on education and her perspective. I think this amendment goes too far in trying to create some of those safeguards and would dilute the overall intention of the bill as amended with the previous amendment. So I'm going to ask for a no vote, but a respectful no vote. So with that, let me take a look. All Democrats will be no?
All Republicans will be a yes.
Thank you, sir. On the bill as amended, are there any discussions? Chair Topper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've had a lot of bills come through the committee, and several bills have focused on the mental health of our kids. And as the father of two teenage boys, I certainly see that as well, Chairman Schlossberg. I see it actually in a lot of elements in our society, even more than just our kids. One of the concerns from our caucus has been, as Representative Gleim mentioned, placing more on our schools in this regard. We know that this is an issue, as with many, that is more of a community fix. We believe that there are services through our counties and private companies and health systems that could assist us in this perhaps more in a more effective way than placing more in terms of our schools. That is why we are continuing to work in that regard. We have shared our concerns with the approach of in-house school programs, and we will continue with that as we work with members and the administration and all chambers to try and create the kind of system that we believe that we need. But we will be, at least I will be asking for a no vote on this bill, and thanks to the chairman, both chairmen, for their work on the issue.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Representative Shalaba.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to provide some background for my opposition to this bill, both standalone and as amended now. But I serve on the Pennsylvania Commission for Crime and Delinquency, and I'm on their School Safety and Security Committee. We are reviewing an organization called My Select Health Options. That organization is focused on collecting real-time mental health data from our youth. They plan to push it out through school districts and counties, through municipalities. The company expressly states that its intended goal is to use this data to create personalized, tailored interventions based on their perception of what would qualify as a risk factor for mental health. We don't have the guidelines on what that would be. We don't have any guardrails on what could qualify as a risk factor requiring such an intervention. And presumably, based on the literature that I've reviewed, it looks like it could be a unilateral intervention. These unilateral interventions into a child's psyche give me great pause as a parent, as a legislator, and as a lawyer, because the opt-out provision of the bill is potentially not going to be exercised where a child would want it to be exercised. In the case of a disadvantaged youth, for instance, whose parents don't take the time to read the information sent home. They don't take the time to read the opt-out. They don't take the time to check the box to opt out, and they don't take the time to put it back in the backpack, if there is a backpack, and send it back to school. So there are going to be children out there who are getting their mental health information taken when they perhaps wouldn't want it taken, and then used in ways that parents don't know or don't care and can't control. My other concern is that as we continue to hyper-focus and fixate on these issues, it's really becoming a problem because we are creating what we are seeking to prevent. We are forcing kids. It's not a mom or a teacher noticing something, noticing an issue, and saying, hey, buddy, what's up? Are you okay? How are you doing? It's not innocent like that. It is adding up because, as our chairman said, this is everywhere in society. Constant mental health check-ins, constant wellness checks, constant talking about our feelings. And while I understand and recognize, and we all know somebody who struggles with mental health, at least one person, probably in your family, probably in your friend and social circle, there is a time and a place, and it's not 6 through 12 at school. This is constant. We never let up, and we can't let kids be kids, and they can't be kids when all we do is focus on things that could potentially be wrong. I have no problem, and I support mental health where it's appropriate, but to constantly be focusing on this, we are simply creating the problem that we seek to address. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other comments or questions from our side? Representative Young?
I would just like to add that given in the day and time in 2024, it's kind of impossible to believe we should not do constant check-ins on mental health. I think people are displaying characteristics and behaviors that could be prevented if we check in more often. I think we have far too often and far too long forgotten how to be connected with people and checking in and making sure that we are seen and heard and helpful to one another and supportive. And so if there's any possibility to regulate that a little bit more and make it more noticeable and more prevalent and more consistent, then I am definitely for anything that's going to help the overall mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health of people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, Representative Young said it better than I could. So with that, Tom, if you will please take a roll call.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry.
Yes by designation.
Representative Friel, Representative Isaacson, Representative Kazim,
Yes by designation.
Representative Nelson, Representative Probst, Representative Prokopiak, Representative Razi, Representative Smith-Waddell,
Yes by designation.
Representative Takak,
Yes by designation.
Representative Young, Chairman Topper,
No.
Representative Cooper, Representative Diorsi, Representative Gleim, Representative McKenzie, Representative McCurry, Representative Ortitai, Representative Schlegel, Representative Shalaba, Representative Stats,
No by designation.
Representative Watro.
No by designation.
The yeas are 14, the nays are 11.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 2311 is reported from the Education Committee as amended. Moving forward to House Bill 2386, sponsored by Chair Topper, who makes the motion to call it up. Is there a second? Representative Schlegel, thank you, sir. We were prepared to have a Democrat do it for you, sir. Aaron, will you please explain 2386?
House Bill 2386, printers number 3248, being offered by Chair Topper. This bill amends the Public School Code and administrative partnerships between school entities and expands the scope of grants available for administrative partnerships to include instructional programming partnerships and consolidation feasibility studies.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair Topper, would you have any comments on the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill really came about when touring particularly school districts in my area and talking about some of the barriers that exist, particularly with small rural districts that are looking to consolidate or looking to have shared services or looking at regionalization possibilities. The upfront costs sometimes prohibit them from going down a road that would actually lead to a more efficient system and potentially accomplish a lot of the goals that we're looking for, particularly as mentioned in both reports in the Basic Education Funding Commission. This is an opportunity we have, I believe, to set some parameters around some of the funding that will be available to school districts. We talk about funding, and as the chairman said in his previous remarks, there is also a time to look for efficiencies in how those funds are being spent. I believe this program will do that. I think it cleans up the grant itself and allows for more use, and I will also be supporting the subsequent amendment by Representative Abney and would ask all members to vote to support this initiative. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. And before we move any further, I'm going to ask Representative Abney to call up his amendment, House Bill 5070. He makes that motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Topper. And I just will say that for the record, there was a typo with the original amendment. There's literally not a word change. There was a typo in formatting from the amendment that was originally drafted. This one came in just a few minutes late, but Chair Topper and I agreed to consider the amendment anyway under Rule 36B2 and 3. That's correct, Chair Topper?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. So with that, Representative Abney, would you like to, or I'm sorry, Aaron, will you describe Representative Abney's amendment?
Yes, Representative Abney will be offering Amendment 805098. This amendment removes the term consolidation to broaden the scope that the feasibility studies may focus on. It adds parameters to the shared service agreements to ensure their focus is to provide students with more or better academic opportunities. It permits a school district to explore intra-district school mergers through a feasibility study and grant, and adds additional areas that a feasibility study may address. It changes the savings clause language to reflect the language in the Public Employees Relations Act and clarifies that grant funding is dependent on funding being made available for the program by the General Assembly.
Thank you. And let me correct myself. I inadvertently referred to it as a wrong amendment number. It is Amendment 5098. Representative Abney, do you have anything to add to that, sir? Are you good? He's good? Okay. Are there any other questions or comments on Amendment 5098? Seeing none on my side, seeing none. Are there any objections from the Republican members?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All Democrats will be a yes on the amendment. And all Republicans?
And all Republicans will be a yes on the amendment.
Thank you, sir. Now, the bill as amended, Chair Topper, do you have any additional comments or questions on the, or comments on the bill?
No.
Are there any on our side? Representative Cerisi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Chair Topper for this bill. I had a bill similar to it, but his went even further, which I really appreciate. It's amazing when we're all on the same exact page. And this is something that's well needed. It's something that, as a former school board member, we yearn for the ability to be able to look at joint services to save money for our districts, and then to look at the possibilities where eligible or where feasible to do mergers. So I want to thank the good chairman, and I look forward to supporting this bill.
Thank you. Before we ask for a roll call vote, I would like to say a couple things. First and foremost, this is a conversation that Chair Topper and I had at the very beginning of this legislative session about the need to find efficiencies, and it really started, at least from my perspective, with getting a greater understanding of what's actually happening in our rural school districts in particular. Those districts that once had thousands of kids that are down significantly through no fault of the school district or the communities that they represent, just sort of natural changes, and making sure that all those students in those schools get the same quality of education that any of us would expect in any of our districts. And it's something that I'll say that I personally absolutely fundamentally believe that all children, regardless of where they live, have every right to a good education. Sometimes that's going to take planning. Nothing about this bill is meant to should cause any sort of concern about outsourcing or anything like that, or reduction of staff. Actually, quite the opposite. It's an attempt to use our resources, particularly in those communities, as efficiently as possible as we look for additional sources of revenue for all of our school districts. That is not part of this. I want to be clear about that. I don't want to put anybody in a weird spot. But this is ultimately a very good bill that I think will make a significant, give an opportunity for significant planning and improvements in all of our school districts. And along with Representative Abney's amendment, I think it makes it even stronger. So I'm going to ask for a yes vote. With that, Tom, if you will please call the roll.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Nelson.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi. Representative Smith-Waddell.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Takak.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Yun. Chairman Topper.
Yes.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie. Representative Mercuri. Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba. Representative Stats.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Wattrow.
Yes, by designation.
The yeas are 25, the nays are 0.
Thank you. House Bill 2386 is reported from the House Education Committee as amended. Up next is House Resolution 481, sponsored by Representative Abney. Representative Abney makes the motion to pull the bill up. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Isaacson. Aaron, will you please explain the resolution?
Yes, this is resolution, House Resolution 481, printers number 3356, being offered by Representative Abney. This resolution directs the Legislative Budget and Finance Committee to conduct a study and make recommendations on non-academic barriers students face relating to career and technical education programs. The report must include the number of students placed on wait list or turned away due to capacity or condition of facilities or staffing per area of study, per career and technical center and high school-based program, the number of students without access to CTE programming due to a lack of program availability in their home district, career and technical areas of study offered at each career and technical center and high school-based program with wait list or that have turned away students due to capacity or condition of facility, an analysis of the CTE subsidy formula and the impact of that formula on districts, and an evaluation of how other states handle career and technical instructor credentialing to address the current educator workforce shortages.
Thank you. Representative Abney, do you have any additional comments you'd like to make, sir?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the Education Committee. As you all know, our Commonwealth is home to more than 80 career and technical centers providing education and hands-on training for nearly 70,000 students in many fields, including industrial, agricultural, technical and computer, and IT, just to name a few. CTEs are an essential component for meeting the needs of our local and state economies and increasing workforce development. Yet here in Pennsylvania is contributing less than 10% of our funding to CTEs, which results in thousands of interested students being put on wait lists, or even worse, they are turned away completely. What my resolution will do is task the Legislative Budget and Finance Committee to conduct a study regarding the barriers students face while trying to enter the CTE programs. It will also require the Legislative Budget and Finance Committee to produce the legislature with the results of that study. So please join me to support this resolution so we can identify the barriers and develop solutions to expanding CTE access in Pennsylvania. I ask for an affirmative vote, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or comments? Chair Topper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to thank gentleman Mr. Abney for this resolution, and I will be voting for it because I think we need to put to the forefront problems that we already know exist. And I guess that takes me into my comments, which is, though I understand the LBFC doing a study, we've asked them to do studies before, I don't think we need a study to realize where we're at in terms of our career and technical education. The fact that there are any students in the Commonwealth who would like to participate in these programs and are told that they can't because there's not space is a black eye for Pennsylvania. These are students and families that want to seek this specialized education, which is producing the workforce that will carry us forward economically in Pennsylvania. We absolutely must do everything that we can from a state level to ensure that these students have access to this education and these services. So I hope that while this study is going on, and again, I plan to vote for it today out of committee because I think it's important to highlight the need for direct involvement from the state to expand our CTE services. I would hope that while that is going on, we continue to push and promote and do everything we can as policymakers to encourage investment into our CTEs. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or comments? Representative Schlegel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to go on the record and to concur with the representative's bill and also with Chairman Topper's comments. I think in this day and age, career and technical education is an essential piece of our educational programs and our society. I know in Lebanon County last year there were at least 150 students who were unable to participate in career and technology programs because of lack of spacing and staffing. And I would hope that we can alleviate those concerns and allow those students to move forward with their education and with their careers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions or comments? Representative Gleim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like the intent of the resolution. However, there is a subdivision of the department that is specifically for CTE. And I believe that instead of spending taxpayer dollars doing a study, that the department should be doing this study on their own. I mean, they already have access to all the CTEs, and they can find out who isn't, how many are being turned away, and the reason why they're being turned away. And they can also do this study. And so, yes, thank you for the resolution. It needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other questions or comments? From my point, I genuinely appreciate Representative Abney, who's our subcommittee chair on career and tech ed, taking this initiative to try to take a deeper dive into it. We know career and tech is extraordinarily expensive with many outdated buildings that they have, with the incredible amount of equipment needs that they have wherever they're going. We have significant concerns about workforce issues in terms of how we certify our career and tech education professionals. There are so many different potential barriers, and I think it's important for us as we're trying to develop policy to take a more holistic look at all of those different things and see where all of the individual barriers are. This is, in my opinion, a way for us to take a more holistic look. Not nearly as in-depth, of course, as the Basic Ed Funding Commission, which I don't think either Chair Topper or I are signing up for another one for career and tech ed, but as a way for us to get data, get ideas, and bring some stuff to the forefront as we continue to move forward and make sure all students have the opportunity to pursue the careers that they wish. I think this is an important policy-making, an important step in the policy-making process, and I'm going to ask for an affirmative vote. With that, Tom, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Nelson.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi. Representative Smith-Waddell.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Takak.
Yes, by designation.
Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
Yes.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie. Representative McCurry. Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba. Representative Stats.
Yes by designation.
Representative Watrow.
Yes by designation.
The yeas are 25, the nays are 0.
Thank you. House Resolution 481 is reported to the from the House Education Committee as recommended. Senate Bill 1153 will be over for today for a number of reasons, so we will skip that one for today, although it is still present in front of the committee for a potential future consideration. Before I adjourn, I would like to make two announcements. Number one, for all members, expect a voting meeting on Wednesday. My anticipation is that it'll be call of the chair. My anticipation is that will be at first break. I will certainly communicate with Democratic members and Chair Topper so that he can communicate with his members about the location and subject matter as soon as we have it all ready to go. Additionally, for House Democratic members, just a reminder, there is a meeting in my office after this voting meeting concludes. It's not mandatory, but if anybody can swing by, that would be great. With that, I'm going to adjourn this a very bipartisan meeting as there is no further business before the committee. Thank you, everyone, very much.